Hello, everyone. Okay, well, welcome to our unit number 2. So, while the study guide and the topic of Unit 2 is talking about the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria and the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, which are two different affiliate groups under the Islamic State umbrella. They are regional areas, so don't get those mixed up. A lot of people do. As you're studying terrorism, you really need to understand the difference between state and non state terrorism actors. So, when we talk about the Islamic State is just a terrorist actor. But when we start thinking about, well, what's a state actor? Well, those state actors that we have under the my gosh, I'm kind of so under the auspice of the State Department, who has the foreign designation of foreign terrorist organizations. State actors are going to be Iran, Cuba, North Korea, as well as China, and you even have Russia. So, what are the non-state actors? Well, these are proxies. So, for Iran substitutes or gives a proxy to such groups as Hamas, Hezbollah, and a lot of other terrorist organizations around the world. Cuba has done the same thing. They funded groups that do their bidding. Russia has not necessarily terrorist organizations, although they really do with the Chechens. The Chechens fighting in the Ukraine were really a non-state terrorist organization. They are an actor. But now even Russia has, in the last 10, 15 years, has really gone into the cyber aspect of non-state actors. These are the proxies. These are the groups, named groups and individuals who do cyber attacks, and it gives a gap of and plausibility denial to the state. So when we talk about state terrorism actors, the official status, and I put this in the introduction for Unit 2, is that state terrorism involves the use of terror tactics by a government and or its proxies. Again, we know that North Korea has done that several times against even its own defectors in Japan. You have Iran, who again has done it through Hamas, the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, going all the way back. Go all the way back to the 1970s, and that's how long Iran has been doing its proxy war with the Western Hemisphere. So these actors, of course, are going to be state-sponsored. They're going to be funded through the state. Now, where it says apparatuses like the military, this is where the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, Quds Force, is the training aspect of their arm of the terrorist non-state actor. So that's where money is funneled, as well as the training and weapons. So, I want to make this distinction because you're seeing it. We're living in a time right now here in the United States. We're seeing it on our college campuses. Call it what you will. We can get political. Terrorism is all about politics. It is political philosophy. Now, you can say motivations, yes, are ideology, religion, ethnicity, and politics in general. But when you get down to it, well, what kind of ideologies? Communist, Leninist, Marxist, religious. You have Buddhist terrorists out there, Christian terrorists, and then you think about the ethnic. Here we saw it in the 1990s between in Bosnia-Herzegovina, Croatia, and so on and so forth. And you've seen it in the Armenian genocide. You can say some of that is political, yes, but then, you have to break it down. So I want you to be thinking about this critically. Think about breaking down Okay, and understanding what are the subtle differences of ideological and political. Could we say the left Democrats in the United States, their ideology is geared more towards socialist, communist, which are Leninist, Marxist? Well, if you say political, well, yeah, the left, they are left, but how far left? Then what is their political drive? And then you can say, well, what about the right and the ultra right? When we get all the way to that very ultra right, and you say the right wing extremists, such as white supremacists, well, what are their ideologies? Well, their ideologies is more towards fascism. And that's why, unfortunately, Republicans, conservative Republicans, get called fascists, whereas the left, actually, we see with Antifa and other groups that do a lot more of the leftist ideological, and we can get into coup d'etats and such. And this is where I really want to motivate you and feel free to disagree. And if you have evidence, if you want to write it out, that's what we're here for. This is part of education, and having ideological differences, having political differences, having differences of perspectives. Now, I'm going to caveat this. In your academic life, you no longer have an opinion. You no longer have a belief. What you have, because you are an academic, you are a scholar, what you have are thoughts, ideas, perspectives. Because thoughts, ideas, and perspectives are not emotionally based. Opinion is. Opinion is really based on whatever tidbits of information you feel through your lived experiences feel is right and wrong. Okay, that's what I mean. We could get into the philosophical aspect, and you should. You need to get into philosophy. You need to understand political philosophy, moral philosophy, ethical philosophy, religious philosophy, ideological. I really challenge you on getting into that. So this is where I want you to really think about when you go left to the right, and to be able to have these discussions, not only amongst us, but amongst your peers, amongst colleagues, amongst friends and family who have differences of opinions. And if you really want to know, then really I would highly suggest reading. Read more. Really understand what it is about Marxism. Understand what it is about fascism under Mussolini. Understand what it is about neo-fascism under Adolf Hitler. And what about Mao Zedong? What about the current CCP in China? What about our U.S. Socialists of the United States of America? I mean, really look at, okay, what are their ideologies? What are their politics? Look at Antifa and really understand. You have to study them. It's okay to read books by people who are supporting of them, because then you get to understand their point of view. And that's the same thing when we get all the way to the ultra right of white supremacy or right-wing extremists, to where it is, we start talking about that neo-fascism, nationalist socialist. Don't get that mixed up. The neo-Nazis were not socialists in the terms of Marx and Lenin and Trotsky and so on. So I want you to really be looking at, and again, you can look at the key differences between what are state and non-state actors. I penned out some stuff for you. If you have more thoughts and ideas, bring them to the Unit 2 live lecture that we'll be holding soon. Check the announcements for that. And again, we're the resources. Do your research. Get out there. Use the library. Our library has tons of links to databases, research. If you need help with database researches, our librarians are there. They are wonderful. They're smart. And then if you need help with search terms and so on, let me know. I can help you. So with that, take care, and I look forward to an awesome unit.